In part 2, we'll do more component checks and assessment on the 1936 Montgomery Ward Airline 62315. Ouch! We're going to try to check the antenna coil itself. Now this radio is so cram-packed full of stuff that this is not an easy one to go through. So if they had and some of the schematics have a layout of the underneath and the component layout, and it really helps if you know where the components are. So I took and started drawing as I identify components to put them so that they're easy reference there. Now this is the oscillator coil up here in this area, and this is the antenna coil, and their cans up on top. Now, looking at the bottom of the antenna coil, there is a mark that's got an orange, I believe you might be able to see it, an orange dot right down in there. And there's, like I say, there's no documentation, so I just numbered that 1 and numbered the pins. Just numbered the pins. Did the same thing with the oscillator coil up here. There was no mark, so I just started where there was a gap and started just like a pin of a layout of a tube, 1, 2, 3, up to 6. So let's get down into this area here and try to see if we can't do some checks. Okay. The antenna. If you'll look, the antenna comes in and it goes through this coil and this coil to ground. This coil is 1 ohm. This one is 20 ohms. These two are up in that can, and so this junction is up in that can, I believe. So if we go from the antenna point to ground, we should get somewhere around 21 ohms. Well, I had kidded with you that this was the antenna. Well, that was actually the ground. Now, don't ask me what they did. They probably set that on, set something, a tin can on it or something as a ground. I don't know. But so if we attach to the antenna and to ground, we should get somewhere around 21 ohms or thereabout. So there's 19 ohms. So I feel pretty good that these two coils are good. Okay. Now, let's check this one here, which is approximately 1 ohm. So you've got to pretty much be a detective to find all this stuff. Now this is the 6A7. There's the grid cap. It comes in and then it goes through a pattern resistor or a capacitor C16. Well, I happen to know that this is C16, and it's just because I traced it out and I marked it as the antenna pattern. Okay, so the opposite side of the C16 is the top part of this coil. So I looked at this part and traced it over to here, and so I counted up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so I just wrote down 5 right there. So that's pin 5 of this coil here. So if I wanted to check this particular coil, I'd have to trace it down, and it goes down to the junction of C2 and R1, which is a 100K resistor. Well, I've traced those out and marked them as C2, and there's 100K. So there's the junction of that. So between that junction and that junction should be approximately 1 ohm. So let's check that out. Between that junction and that junction, and there's 1.2 ohms, and it'll drift on down. Okay, so we feel like that coil is good. Now let's look and see how to check this coil here. Okay, that is tied up to the same place. It's actually the grid cap itself, but it's the opposite side of that C16. So we can go across that and also to this junction 6 again, where C2 and the 100K, I could have left that on there right there, and then went over to the opposite side. Remember, I had it on here, which goes over to here. I could go to this side, and this should be reading around 4.5. So if we go right there, we should see around 4.5. So I believe the antenna coils are good. Now let's sort out the oscillator coil itself. See if we can sort out this oscillator coil configuration. I numbered it just like I did the rest of it, just like a tube, clockwise. With pin 1, it's a 7 o'clock position, which would be this one. Now looking, that's a 100 ohm resistor tied to pin 1. So I looked for that 100 ohm resistor. Well, there it is, tied to, and so I numbered that number 1. So that'll be this point here. So we'll put our lead on that. The other side, the 100 ohm resistor goes to C16, which we know the other half of it is here. It's tied to this side of it, and so the other end of this coil is on the other end of that pattern, which will be here. So this coil says it's about 1 ohm. So we'll go across here, and we should get approximately 1 ohm or so. Try to do stuff with too much in your hands sometimes. There you go. So there's around 1 ohm. It's going to drift down a little bit as usual, but we believe that this coil here is good. So we'll leave this one on this terminal, and then so we will check this coil here. We've left the this one on this point here, and so we want to check this coil. So we're going to find C15 and go to it, and C15 goes to ground. Well, this happens to be this pattern cap right up in here. So if we go across from this point to this point, we should see on the order of 3 ohms or so. So let's connect that, and there's 3.5 ohms, and it's drifting on down. So that coil looks pretty good. We're going to leave this one on C15 number 3. We're going to leave that terminal on there, and tracing the other end out, number 4, it goes to pin 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can actually see the wire, trace it up, it goes to here. and we're looking at it, and it's about, that says 0.8, and let's see what we get here. And we're drifting on down, and I think I ended up, it'll eventually drift out to about 0.5. So that the oscillator coils look good at this point. Let's check this first IF, primary of it. Let's see what we can do here. All right, there's that. That's T3. It's connected to pin 2 of the 6A7, and then this one goes down to B plus. Okay, we know where B plus is because we just cut it out, right? Right. Anyway, and here is our 6A7. I've marked it. And here's the larger pins. There's pin 1 and pin 2. So pin 2 and B plus should be the primary. And excuse me, that's 25 ohms or so. We'll just call it 25. We'll write that down. 25. All right, now the secondary may be a little bit more difficult. That is the cap of the 78 tube, and that's up on the top side, and then this bottom comes down, and it's on the bottom of R6, and R6 is a 1 meg ohm resistor. And if you see, the R6 is also tied into the volume control and the other IF. So this is the volume control here. So it's either, I don't think it's going to be all the way up on the volume control. It's probably going to be closer. May even be, I don't think it's inside. Let's look and see. Somewhere on the bottom of the second IF, which here is the first IF over here, and the second IF is, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Right here. Here's second IF. And I don't know if you can see that or not. See the green dot? There's your 1 meg. It's a 1 meg. And so we've got to go up to the top side to the cap. Make sure that's the right one, yeah, because that goes to the 6A7. And then the other one goes, is it this side of the 1 meg? Yeah, I guess so. All right, so now we're at 66, 67-ish, somewhere there about 66. All right. So there's that. Let's go over to here. So pin 2 of the 78 tube, and then we'll come down and we'll go to R5 and C6. And these, I don't have any map, so I'm having to just look at it. R5 comes off of B plus. But let's see, it also, here's another clue. It goes up and goes to pin 3 of the 6A7. So if we go from the pin 3 of the 6A7 to pin 2 of the 78, we should see that. Okay? Pin 2 of the 6A7. So here's pin 1, pin 2, so we'll hook that. And what did we say? Make sure we got pin, no, we said pin 3 of the 6A7, didn't we? That'd be that one right there. There's your C6. I marked that one earlier. See, I marked it. All right, here's pin 3 of the 6A7. Comes down over. Now we got to go to pin 2 of the 78, which is right there. There's pin 1, pin 2 right there. So what do we get? Around 72, 71 and change. All right. Now let's go here. Pin 3 and 4 of the 75 tube. And this is your volume control. So it's one side of your volume control where that R6 was tied in. Remember, one side of the R6 was tied in. So it's one side of the volume control. If we get a high reading, we're on the wrong side, right? Right? So anyway, let's see. What do we say? Pin 3 and 4 of the 75 tube, which is right inside there. And then one side of the volume control. If we get it's high, then it's wrong, right? Okay, that's high. So let's go the other side. And that's wrong too. I just don't think I had a good connection somewhere. Come on. These old connections. All right, 25 ohms. Took me long enough, didn't it? Huh? All right, so I think the halves are okay. They got continuity anyway. Write that down. All right, now we're going to look at the speaker. We'll bring over here, back over here. All right, should I put a piece of cardboard over that? I don't know. I bet it'll work. If everything's good, I bet it'll work. All right, let's see. Here's the speaker connection down here. And let's see. Here's the configuration, and the one that's out by itself is the spare. Okay, let's look at that. There's the spare right there, because it's out by itself. All right, the output transformer. It's the first pin from the spare. And then the other one is the next one. So the outer two is the output transformer. So let's look at that. There's our spare. So we said the first one. And then the next one. Well, you're not going to be able to see, are you? Be careful now. All right, let's see what we got. We have 738 ohms. Okay, let me document that. 737. All right, so let's look at the schematic. The field coil the two middle ones, I believe. Let's trace them out. There's that one. And then we come back. Okay, so it's the two middle ones. All right, let's see if we can get some, well, continuity here. and we're reading 1524. 25, that sounds about right. 1525, that sounds good. So that sounds like we're in good shape on that. 1525. You know what? Let's check our voice coil. Let's run some sound through here. You know I'm getting a kick out of this, and I'm laughing because I dread. And I shouldn't dread it. I'm going to look forward to doing it. Let's just say I'm going to look forward to reconing this, good or bad. Let's run some audio through this. Okay, we say the output transformer is the outer 2. Is that spider web bothering anybody? All right, moment of truth, guys. Well, there you go. We got a good speaker. All we got to do is patch it, right? Just got to patch it. That's it. All right. I think we're going to end part 2 here. We've got some good tests and some good data. I think this radio, we can repair it and make it work. In part 3, what we're going to look at is we're going to take the dial. We're going to try to repair it. We're going to do some gluing on the cabinet itself. Do some little chassis cleanup. Start looking at the filter cap, how to replace those. Start checking some resistors and changing out some of those capacitors. And in probably part 4, we're going to do just a section on the candohm resistor, because we're going to replace the candohm, and we'll figure the wattages of those resistors and just do the full installation of it in part 4. So you'll know what 3 and 4 is going to happen. So I appreciate, I've got some new subscribers. I appreciate, been getting a lot of good comments. I really appreciate those. That's you just keep commenting. That's why we do it. I want, people to learn and enjoy this, and there's some entertainment value in this also. So everybody stay safe out there. Looks like the country is going to start opening up here in a couple of weeks maybe. So just proceed with caution. Use your common sense. And so from Larry, from the hills of Tennessee, thanks for watching.